Well, how y'all are? This is your buddy George Jones over at the Bergen Gun Range with our next installment on shameless product placement. We do kind of like Ale 8, no kidding. I don't drink a lot of them because I shouldn't drink soft drinks at all, but I drink Ale 8 because, first of all, I like it, and second of all, it's a Kentucky Proud product. It's not too bad. So this is an L frame. This is a 357 Magnum 686, 586, what? 586 stainless. Or the stainless is the 6 and the blued is 5. This gun came about because there was a bunch of kids on the lower range. This gun came about because Smith & Wesson had a gun called the Model 28, or the Highway Patrol. They discontinued it while there was still a high demand for a full-size, heavy-frame 357 Magnum police-type revolver. So they had to reintroduce something. So they reintroduced this. Almost, I think it was in 1979, almost immediately Ruger introduced a gun called a GP100. Now the original GP100s, I didn't care for them, okay? They had tricky to manipulate sights. They were really heavy. They had a really clunky trigger draw mechanism in it. The triggers were rough, you know. And over the years, they discontinued that. But they brought back the GP100 in this form. This is a 7-shot, 3-inch barrel GP100. It should be called the Mark II, okay, or Gen 2 or something like that. And it's a noticeable improvement over the original GP100. First of all, the trigger is very nice. Smooth, crisp, not, you know, the original ones, when you pulled the trigger, it felt like a barrel of nails rolling down the steps, okay? This is a very smooth, clean, crisp action. And they've got a few refinements to it. They've tapered the cylinder down to make it a little bit lighter, but still strong where it needs to be. 3-inch underlug, shrouded ejector rod, Novak style sights, fiber optic front with well guarded in a steel base. You know, it's just a really nice, well appointed version of the GP100. You know, and it's got the standard GP100 grip. It's a little bit smaller than it used to be. The old ones had plain liners in the rubber. These have nice rosewood that appear to be, they're nicely checkered. I don't know if it's cut checkering or not. It's not real sharp like cut checkering. It's more like laser cut or something like that. But overall, it's a great improvement over the old GP100. And it says on it, the information is it has a 3-digit prefix and a serial number, small Ruger logo, 357 GP100, and this one is a 7-shot. And HKS makes a speed loader for it. So we're going to give it a try right here with some full power, full blast 357 Magnums on steel at 25 yards and see where we can get with it. I'm shooting Full Metal Jacket Precision 357s. That's why when we were shooting a minute ago, you always had one more than I did. It's a 7. Have you got the 1910?
Yes.
Have you got it loaded?
No.
Well, I'd get to loading it if I was you. You're going to look silly sitting here with an empty gun. Yeah, I probably need those. It's been one of those days, folks. All right, off the block. Let's see where we get with it here. This ought to be good. Oh, here we go. Stand by for detonation. Kawami. It is a full blast 357, buddy. Now we got it. I hit it in the sweet spot and got it swinging now. You know, I got Dubleton's contracture, okay, in 2 fingers on this hand. This hand's been rebuilt, tendons in it, restitched, relaced, whatever they is. This one doesn't even work anymore. I can't even bend that thumb anymore. And I have arthritis in both hands. I have to run them under the hot water in the morning to get them up and working. So, some guns are not a pleasure to shoot, okay? Some are just not a pleasure to shoot at all. The balance of this gun, the grip ergonomics, and the overall balance of it is fairly pleasant to operate with full house 357s. Let's get something little. Let's try a 10-inch steel plate at 25 yards. I'm plumbing looking for the sweet spot, and I ain't finding it. All right, let's try the tank plate, the square inspection plate off the bottom of a chaffee. Back where we were doing something there. There we go. This is a cannon, but it's operational. I can use it. Now, one of the problems the original GP100 had, they're heavy. They offered them in a 4-inch barrel. By making this a 3, they automatically made it 2.5 ounces lighter. I don't know if they offer this gun in a longer barrel configuration than this, but if you want a full house, 7-shot, 357 Magnum defensive firearm, you know, you might have a rhinoceros problem in your neighborhood. You know, you might have a rogue elephant in your town. You know, this is a great gun. It's very nice, very operational, and very comfortable to shoot with full blast 357s in it. Well, that's about the size of it for that video. My cousin Ed wants to participate more in my channel, so I'm going to get up from here and let him sit down with something else.
Hey everybody, what we're going to do today is we're going to show you an old gun, and we're going to tell you a little story about a gun company. The gun company in question is Hartford Arms, and a lot of you, maybe outside of New England, you've never heard of Hartford Arms. Hartford Arms was started around 1925 by a ex-employee of Colt. And as I tell people, when I tell them, I said, looks a lot like Colt Woodsman, doesn't it? As a lot of guns of that era did. Well, at the end of this, there's a twist. So, they went into production of these guns in 1925. They stayed in production till about 1931. They made approximately about 5,000 of these. It's a very nice, well-balanced gun, very slim taper barrel, approximately around 6 inches, no, it's about 6.5 inches long. Recoil operated, does not hold back on the last shot. This one is in the 400 serial number range. So this is a first year production Hartford Arms, model 1925. It's an interesting little gun. As I said, this was pretty much the style back then. Little small grip, little tapered barrel. So we're going to attempt to shoot it a little. And what kind of ammo we're going to use. Where's my magazine? Ah, there it is. Where's my magazine? Look at, first of all, look at this magazine.
Where are my captain's wafers?
Yes. Where are my captain's wafers? Look at this magazine. That's a 1920s magazine. Look at this. I mean, that's just basically folded sheet steel. I will not guarantee how well this gun will shoot. It's got springs in it. About as old as my grandfather if he were still here. So we're going to try it. What we're shooting today is no stingers. We're shooting standard velocity, CCI, 40 grain, 1,070 feet per second. One thing, if you've got older firearms like this, especially older 22 rifles, I wouldn't be go jamming the first hypervelocity ammo I could find into them. It's a bad idea. You can get cracks in the slide, essentially, in here. I know one pistol of this age that was produced quite extensively, epidemic for breaking slides with modern ammo. So, let's try a few here, see what happens. And again, the springs in this gun are almost 100 years old. So we'll see how it works. It's tight.
Forward assisted.
That's what I thought. It hits. If it fires. If it fires. And that's it. All right, popped one out for me. Help me out. As I said, old springs, old gun. Probably a firing pin issue too. I hate that. But again, that's something you need to watch out for older pistols like this. They're not probably going to run as good as even a Ruger standard model from, say, the 1940s. It's an interesting gun though, as far as history, etc. The twist is, as I mentioned, the company was bought in 1931 by a ex-employee of Winchester. And that gun went on to become the high standard, as in high standard firearms in Hartford. So if you wonder where it all started, this is it. If you collect high standards, this will be a good one to have in your collection. As I said, this is the progenitor of the high standard. Pretty neat gun.
The prophylactic of the high standard.
Yes. Anyway, let me turn you back over to George here real quick, and we'll sign off. Thank y'all.
Oh, Lord, I have to come back over and get back on camera. Is that what you want?
Yes.
I'm coming. Well, all right then. Wasn't that fun? All right then, folks. Like it, share it, commentate, and subscribe. Leave me an $1 in the Patreon bucket if you don't do it. If you don't, I'll keep right on making content for you. Patreon money goes to the upkeep of this range. They're down there with a Galil wearing out the steel targets. God bless America. God bless us each and every one. We'll see you when we see you. Bye now.